going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast, a fan podcast dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. I hope everyone enjoyed the remainder of their week, is enjoying their week. We're almost at the weekend. Saturday is our next match against Brighton. So hopefully everyone's excited for that, and everyone's come off the roller coaster of the win against Liverpool. But yes, it's time for a new match. It's time to move on. Like I said in the title of last week's episode, we need to focus on this next match. And yes, today's episode is just preview dedication to the Manchester United preview. I am aware of some of the news that came out today involving Joshua Zirkzee, story something that I saw passing along from the Mirror, that he's going to be handing in a transfer request in January. So there's not much to say. We know this has been an up and down situation. There's a rumor I also saw that Ruben doesn't see him in his plans. So, and he hasn't played much this season. He really hasn't. So it's hard to say. And with the less amount of people, it's hard to as well. So hopefully, I know the AFCON is coming up in the end of the year, so there's opportunity for him to play at that time, but I'll follow it as it develops, but I'll leave it there because I know it's been an off and on story all season so far. So we'll see, because obviously the main news that was happening with him at the same time, but we'll wait and see how this story progresses. Again, anything could happen. Injuries, the smallest thing where he gets into the lineup, and we do need him. So, especially in January with the FA Cup, with positions. So, and if they're going to be targeting midfielders in January, potentially and signing them, what does that say for Bruno? Bruno will probably get moved up somewhere. So we're in that situation where where Zirkzee may go, but I'll wait and see how this story develops, especially with going into the weekend too. We'll see how that progresses in terms of that. As always, like, subscribe, follow on Instagram, TikTok, and X, as well as don't forget to follow on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify as well. And thank you to all those who have recently subscribed. Thank you to all those who do like and do view the post, whether it's on TikTok, X, or on Instagram. So I do greatly appreciate it, and as well as the YouTube videos too. I will be getting more involved in trying to develop more for the videos. So I know I don't show myself often. It's mostly like a radio, and I do my little descriptions, but I will be hopefully getting there. I'm going to work on developing more. So, but yes, today is basically the preview for against Brighton. That's the main thing. We have to look at it here. I always mention it. Every game is a big game. It's always important. And listen, we can be as happy as we can be beating Liverpool. Obviously, winning that derby was great, and you're seeing the positive influence that it's had since that win. But it is time for another game. It is time for a different opponent, and we have to be prepared for it. As always, like I say, every game, consistency, discipline, and finish, we have to see that. And it's hard to predict what the lineup is going to be. It really is. And I think Ruben or Amram is in that situation where it's going to go based on the game where he's going to set up the lineup. Are we going to see what we saw on Sunday with the false nine pretense? Are we going to see Sesko back? Are we going to see Manu start? Are we going to see Dorgu and Ahmad start on the opposite wings? Is Delo going to play? What are we going to do for our back three? Is Maguire going to start? Are we going to have Euro switch in? The Lit? Is Mazraoui going to get starting time? That is the question. We're at that crossroads again where we only have one player missing, and that is Licha, and he's coming back soon. We probably won't see him play until December. I would say probably the new year, and he's back, but that's where we're at. But yes, we're at a roads where we have the depth, and when it comes to substitutions, it's tough. It really is. So going into this game, it's going to be tough. Listen, Brighton, as much as we've had a decent season, Brighton's had a very good season as well. Yes, if you look at the table, we are ahead of them, but we're not really ahead by much. So just give me a moment here. I'm just going to pull up. I have everything ready, but it's always the standings. It's the one thing I always forget. Gotta think about the standings. But, look at the table. Yeah, so we're literally 1 point ahead of them in this game. So that's it's the important part. It's great that we're in the top half of the table, but we like to maintain that top half. So would Brighton. And what's also important about this game too is, well, I don't know if it would be important, but it's going to be fixed on, especially with the news going in, and since the news has been going on since the end of the transfer window, Carlos Baleba is linked to Manchester United and the price tag for him. That's something that you're going to be that's something that's going to be talked about possibly going into this game, looking at this and being like, well, here we are. This is what we have to discuss. Like, what's going to happen with him, the feedback, the playing. Like, Baleba hasn't been playing the best. He hasn't. He's had some tough go-arounds this season. Let me just pull up. I go back and pull up my information again. But I will be discussing Brighton, how well they've been playing so far. But let me just get some player stats here. Where is Baleba? Yeah, Baleba. 7 games started. Let's take a look at his game logs. Let's see if I can get minutes here. So when we're looking at it here, so 69 minutes the first game, only played 45 in the second, 60 in the third. He's only played 1 full game, and it wasn't with Brighton. The most he's played is, from what I'm seeing here, is 71 minutes. That's the most he has played this season. There are times where he has been substituted literally at half or right after half. Newcastle, he played 71. Wolves, he only played 45. Chelsea played 67. Tottenham only played 45. Bournemouth Bournemouth, he only played 24. I got to look into why he only played 24. Let me just take a look here. I got to look at that game. Let's take a look here. Antoma. Semeneo. Now just taking a look here. So Brighton, Bournemouth. Oh, yeah, Brighton, Bournemouth. When did he come on? He came on at the 66th minute, so he didn't even start. There are some games where he hasn't started. So I had to do my investigative journalism to see what had happened there. So yeah, there are some games where he hasn't started. He started 7 games. Some of them he has been pulled in. That game that I just talked about, he only played 24 because he came on in the 66th minute. So has he had an okay season? Yeah, I think that's to justify it. I think that's the best way to put it. And listen, how good has Brighton been this season? Like I mentioned, they're 1 point ahead, or we're 1 point ahead of them in the table. They're sitting at 10th. We're sitting at 9th. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that we're in the top half. But let's look at their schedule so far. That's the one thing, too. Let's look at who they faced. They faced some pretty good teams. Let's not take it away. Fulham, which, let me just take a look at. Fulham, was that at home? Yes, that was... So Fulham, they had a draw. Why does it always go back to, like, I'm try to look at the schedule for this year, and it goes all the way back to 2024. I don't want to look at 2024. Positive is Brighton is still in the Carls Barrel Cup, I believe. Yes. Because they beat Barnsley 6-0 in their last game for the Cup. They won their Cup games convincingly, and yes, I don't need to be reminded of what happened with Manchester United in their lovely Cup match. So let's take a look here. Yeah, so they beat Oxford and they beat Barnsley, both 6-0. Lovely. I'll leave it there. But yeah, going to the games, tying Fulham, lost against Everton on the road. They did beat City at home. They did beat City, which was great to see. Drew against Tottenham, was able to beat Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea went to a man down, but still coming away with a win. And also Newcastle as well. So, yeah. So the one thing too is they're away on the road. So I'm just going to take a look here. Now I went back to 2023. Like, what is going on? Google does not want to cooperate. So, yeah, tying at home. Obviously, losing on the road to Everton, losing it to Bournemouth. Well, they did win on the road against Chelsea. Drew against Wolves. Was able to get so they're okay on the road. Win at home, they're great for wins, which when we get there will be a tough matchup. But they're at Old Trafford this weekend. But again, let's talk about it. So they're facing the Champions League player teams that they faced. Let's look at this. They beat City, perfect. Tied Tottenham, okay. Beat Chelsea, that's 3, and they beat Newcastle as well. So 4 games, four Champions League teams, 4 out of the top. Well, how many teams crossed last year? 5. Yeah, so we had. Yeah, so yeah. So let me see here. Yeah, Tottenham. Yeah, Tottenham. So there's 6 teams in the league. They haven't played Liverpool or Arsenal yet, but they've played 3 out of the top 5, and they 3 out of the top 5 from last year, and they're 3-0. So what does this mean? A, they are tough to beat at home because they took one of the wins away. That was away at Chelsea. They beat City and they beat Newcastle at home. So they have played well against good teams. They have played well just in general. What to look at. Realistically, if you're looking at the play, probably that they're playing better than what we are. So what does this mean going into this weekend? Well, this means that we're in for a fucking challenge. That's what it means. Man United need to make sure everything is there. And yes, Brighton will have injuries because I was checking out the injuries for them. This is courtesy of Sports Mole. So March, Webster, Hishelwood are out with injuries. Matoma, Veltman, Gomez, Gruda are rumored to be assessed heading into the game, so they are not aware. So they're going to have some potential injuries. They're going to be potentially missing some key players. Listen, is that a good thing for us? It works in our favor. But realistically, seeing what we're seeing on paper and then actually doing what we need to do is key. Listen, we've won against Liverpool. Fan-fucking-tastic. I'm already over it. I mentioned in the last episode, we have to work on the next game. And this is it. We have to be able to attack. They're going to play with a back 4. How is Amram going to strategize? Listen, many possibilities of that starting front. Will he go with the same as he did last week? Maybe. For me, I am going to go with similar to Sunderland with a little bit of an adjustment. Cunha, because he was fantastic last weekend. And then Mount coming off the bench. And then Sesko starting. I think Sesko needs to get in there. I think this is the type of matchup that you want him playing against this style of team. They have Danny Welbeck as well. They have good teams as well. So again, our back three will have its challenges. But and again, we're facing Baliba, but we don't know what's going to happen with Baliba. Mente, very good on the attack for them. I mentioned Welbeck, as well as Reuter. So you have that going for them. But overall for us, yes, our attack, like for me, Sesko, the size, the involvement. The one thing I've been liking this season has been his involvement with Manchester United, getting into those passes, getting the ball moving, help do a proper transition, hold up, and then be able to move forward. I have been liking that. So, and I did like the passes to them too. He had his opportunities. So, but going into this weekend, it's, again, that mental state's got to be there. The attack has got to be there. The press has got to be there. The movement is going to be there. Again, the attack, the defense, the mid, it all has to be there. So the mental, like, as much as this is about, hey, here we go, it's the mental state going into this weekend. We have to be prepared going into it. And as much as we've done what we did on Sunday and the excitement, that has to be taken out and moved past. We have to do something. We're at home as well. We don't want to lose at home. We're there. And they're not bad when they're away. They play pretty well. They took Chelsea out at home. They've had some draws. But they have to play we have to play smart. We have to do it. It's like the game plan for them, what we did against Liverpool, may not be the same game plan for Saturday, to say the least. The long balls, but we have to keep the ball. We have to be disciplined. The movement, everything has to be there. So, but for my attack, I'm going to start from the back with my lineup here. Let me get my little floor plan here that I have. Semi Lamens, it's his spot. It's his spot to lose. So he will be starting. The back three, there'll be an adjustment. No Harry Maguire to start. Yes, I'm aware of what he did. We'll probably see him later on in a situation where we have to bring him in for certain points. Yoro, Delit's going back to his normal spot, and then Luke Shaw, who has been playing very well this season. Not superstar great, but very well. So they have them back in the back three. Ahmad, he'll be back at the wing back spot, who played very well last week. You have Casemiro and Bruno starting there. I have him back. Again, last week when I didn't have him starting, the reason why is just because of how much he played on international break. And when I watched him against Hungary, he did look a little tired. So, but with the time off since the last game, we'll have him starting as well. You should probably see him a little bit more refreshed going into this game. Dorgu, he comes back to starting on the left side. Delo coming off the bench. And then Mbeumo, who has been fantastic all season. Sesko, and then Cunha. And I think you have to go with that starting three. I think so. I think the movement and what Cunha did at the end of that game, getting the free kicks, I think that goes there. And Mbeumo, who is our best scorer at the moment, should be going in there as well. And then we have Sesko as well. So Sesko, who has had 2 goals in the Premier games leading up to the break, obviously didn't start last week, but he did have involvements in it. You see him coming to the ball, moving the ball, getting the ball passed to the right people to start moving it on and heading towards the net. And you see that being fed. That is something we've been lacking from a striker as well. Højlund would go for the ball, but the way Sesko wants the ball and looks to get involved to try and get his touches and movement to help the flow of the attack, that is great to see. So I hope for a Sesko goal. I hope for a Cunha goal. I hope for everyone to score, but we know that we won't happen. And as always, I'm always going for a United win. I say that everyone, and I say that for every game. And I know a lot of people going there. So yeah, and I know some people will be up and down, but the main thing is going to this game is the mental part. The way again, we finished great last game, but again, consistency, discipline, finish, and the consistency has to be there. We have to see that. And I mentioned it on Tuesday's episode, and I mentioned it, I believe, after the preview, and I mentioned it after the post game against Liverpool. Those are key factors going into a game like this. And I don't want this to be a Brentford situation where, we win against Chelsea and then we falter. We win Sunderland, we win Liverpool, and then we blow it against Brighton. We have to be smart about it. We do. And I got to go back to last year when we played Brighton. When did we last play them? And they kicked our butt at home. Yeah. They kicked our butt at home back in January 19th. At home. So, and that's when I know we were at that stage where the transition to a new manager, new formation, new style was there. Obviously, they're different. We're different. But we have to, but the issues can still be there. The mental lapses. We have to go into this game forgetting not forget what we did, but forget what we did against those past wins. Those were great. We have to forget what they did when they came to Old Trafford back in January. This is a new style, a new team, new everything. We have to approach it. So, United this game's big. United are in a tough spot, but we need to have them in those spots where they need to fight it out. And you have to go into this game realizing that you can win, that you have to play yourselves as well as be able to not give up against those teams that we're playing against. So, but yeah, and the players that scored, Mente, Matoma, and Rudder, players that I mentioned about their attack, that's who we have to face. So the back three, Yoro, Delo, Shaw, they have to step up too. They have to be there as well. So, and I'm just going to check, because I remember the game at Brighton, in Brighton, that was May 2024, where we did win. I'm going to see, last year. Where are we? We lost to Brighton 2-1 when we played there. That was at the beginning of the very difficult season for Ten Hag. So, two different coaches, same result. We lost. One was away. One was at home. The one at home hurt, especially with the way things were going for Manchester United. Because let me just take a look at that game. Let me just take a look at United. Look at our schedule from then. Because if I remember that correctly, I think that was right after we beat City. Let me just take a look. Yeah, Brighton 3-1. So that's when we were coming off of a very important draw against Liverpool, a FA Cup win against Arsenal, a great win against Southampton, and I believe that was the game where, what was it? Amad Diallo just went and scored, and actually we scored all the goals. One of them was an own goal of Manuel Ugarte. So we had that, and then we go on to Brighton at home. I'm just going to get that back up. And we go on to Brighton at home, and we lose 3-1. We do the great epic comeback 3 days before. That week, basically, the 2 weeks in between, again, the draw against Liverpool, the big win against Arsenal, the 3-1 win against that, and then we go to Brighton and we blow it up. And then obviously playing the Rangers the following week, Fulham. So we definitely had struggles. and it showed. We had our struggles. So the one thing that's important for United is we have to make sure that our mental lapses are controlled and that we're disciplined, we're playing consistently, we're finishing our shots, we're tracking back. We have to make sure that everything's moving well, a ball, making sure everyone's involved. So, but yeah, important game. So just to recap my lineup again, Lamens, Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw is my back three. Ahmad, Casemiro, Fernandes, and Dorgu in the middle. And on the wings, Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko on the attack. And then you have possibly Mount coming off the bench, Mainu, Ugarte, Maguire, and I'd like to see Joshua Zirkzee get in. I would love to see some minutes for him. But again, it's all going to be situational, the attack. So it all depends on how things are playing on, if there's any injuries. You have Mazraoui as well, who's probably going to get some minutes. So it's a tough one. It really is. It's hard to predict even this lineup because, again, Maz is just coming back. I don't think he'll get his full-time minutes. I would like to see Zirkzee get some minutes, but I'm sure depending on the situation, we'll probably have, if we're in a defensive situation, Ugarte and Maz will probably be primary. If we're something needing for the attack, you're hoping that Zirkzee, Mainu, Zirkzee and Mount are in. But if we're in a certain situation, we'll probably be bringing in Mount with Cunha and Mbeumo, but if we have to switch out one of them, hopefully Zirkzee comes in. Or you're bringing in Mainu and pushing Bruno up front. So, and then Delo could possibly get in, but it's tough. It really is. But yes, I'm going to leave it there for the game. I'll be back Saturday after the game, recording, advising what it is. Also, as well, any updates too, I'll discuss it potentially on the episode after. Or if not, I'll leave it to next Tuesday after the episode as well, just recapping. But yes, back Saturday after the match. Hopefully, I hope everyone enjoys the remainder of their week. I hope everyone enjoys the game on Sunday as well. So it's a big game. Every game is big. It doesn't matter who the opponent is. It's got to be big no matter what. So, but yes, enjoy the game. Enjoy the remainder of the week. I'll talk to you guys Saturday. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.